Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and I've officially come to the conclusion that feminists and vegans are of the same breed. Now, first of all, don't get any wrong ideas about me thinking that, feminists and vegans are trash, because the idea, it's right. Like, to start off with vegans, honestly, try not to kill animals and supporting the dairy industry and the meat industry. It's not a bad thing. Nobody is denying that it's a bad thing. However, it's the way they go about it that's wrong. And with feminists, the first wave, inside the 1800s and early 1900s, and even the second wave inside 1960s or whatever, whenever it was in, after World War II and stuff, it's not a bad thing. They wanted equality for women. Back then there wasn't. They wanted to give women the right to vote and stuff like that, which is obviously the right thing to do. I find it hard to believe more than a few men on inside Western culture believe that women shouldn't have the right to vote. But these third wave, or people are even saying that they're fourth wave feminists, it's not right. There's equality between men and women. With the whole wage gap thing, it's absolutely ridiculous. But we're showing why the two kind of cults, in my opinion, are kind of similar. I went over that the idea wasn't wrong, and as I said, nobody's really denying that. However, just the way they go about it is wrong. Starting with the vegans, I was at a Rib Fest as of recent. Well, it's kind of recent, but anyways, there's the vegan cult, standing outside the Rib Fest. And to start off, if you're going to Rib Fest, you're going to eat ribs. You're not just going to see these vegans inside anonymous masks and be like, maybe they're right. I'm not going to eat ribs. I'm going to go back home. I went all this way to go to Rib Fest, go munch on some ribs. But I don't really feel like it anymore. They're right. I shouldn't be supporting the meat industry. And if you don't know what Rib Fest is, you can probably guess, but it's just, the whole community gets together and munches on a bunch of overpriced ribs and then goes home and watches Netflix or whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous that they're there, and the purpose that they're trying to do is they're trying to scare you. There's kids there too, and it's kind of ridiculous that they're just trying to scare all these people into becoming vegan. And it's not how the society works. People are stubborn. They're not just gonna change, especially when you're bashing their lifestyle. They're spending all their time talking about how meat is bad, how every meat farm and dairy farm, the animals are abused, and I'll get to that in a minute. But they're spending more time, bashing people's lifestyles than actually promoting theirs. And what they could say, instead of saying, eating meat is bad, you guys are fucking delinquents, even though they're the delinquents, you could just say, eating vegan is healthier because I don't know if it's healthier or not, but personally, I'm First Nations, so to get to the abusing animals part, they're talking as if every single farm abuses animals. That's so not true. Of course, there's places like Fairlane Farms that are going to abuse animals, and I totally agree. I think everybody would agree that's fucked up, and those places should be shut down, and they do get shut down. Fairlane Farms is being shut down, but they're acting like every single farm is like that. And like I said, I'm First Nation, so we fucking honor our animals, and I don't live off the land. I don't live on a farm or on a reserve, but my ancestors did, and they worship their animals. They use every part of the body, and even the Japanese, I don't know if you've heard of Wagyu beef, but it's, they fucking massage their cows to get that shit. That's expensive stuff, and for good reason, they take care of their cows, and that I think that's how, every dairy farm, every meat farm should be on this earth. But yeah, they're just scaring people into thinking, it's bad. And the feminists are doing the same thing. They're not necessarily focusing on how feminism is right, even though it's not quite as much as the vegans, but they're not focusing on that. They're focusing on, why people are, not smart for supporting feminism. And another thing kind of linking them is that nobody really likes them, like, except for themselves, even with the feminists, you ask, women who obviously, I think everybody can agree that, women should have equal rights. Nobody's denying that, but it's just, they do. That's the thing, they do. And nobody else likes them because they realize how fucking stupid they are. And, you go on YouTube and, every now and then you see like a feminist video and it's like feminist pwned by the right or by benshapiro. You never see, feminist pwns the right or anything like that. You don't see that because it just doesn't happen. So, yeah. And with the vegans, it's the same thing. Like vegans get pwned or something like that, as the headline or the thumbnail. So both kind of cults are definitely not the smartest, but they have their own train of thought. I'm not trying to be a bigot. They have their reasons for doing what they do, and I can tolerate that, I guess. I guess that makes me not a bigot, but I feel like they almost can't tolerate people on the other side, because with feminists the whole thing is being able to tolerate the left in general is being able to tolerate everyone's opinion about trans people and gay people and stuff like that, but they're freaking hypocrites. Like they just don't accept people on the right. Now, I'm not a part of either. Like I hate politics in general. I'm not even an American, so I can't really get into that much, but but the main thing between the two is that the idea, it's not wrong. Like, both of them had the right idea. They're just going after it. Just their approach is just so bad. Like, and you can't stereotype like all feminists and all vegans. Like, there's some vegans that they're just vegans. They don't talk about it. They just don't eat meat. They don't eat animal products. They don't go on rampages throughout the streets and, talk about feminist shit and vegan shit. And there's so many feminists now that are turning vegan, because I actually have a freaking an article here. Well, it's not an article, it's more of a blog, but I'm actually going to go over it. Okay, so this is written in 2018, so about a year ago. And okay, this is how it starts. I am a vegan and a feminist, despite their different labels. However, I don't believe these are separate identities. And that's the new trend going on. Okay, so the main beliefs at the heart of feminism is that all living beings are equal and that exploitation, especially of women, should be abolished. Okay, once again, inside, Western culture, it basically is, women and men have different pros and different cons. Male privilege does exist, but however, female privilege does exist. There's pros and cons to each gender, and I think the feminists don't realize that they have pros too. Anyways, it's disturbing to me that most feminists only hold these beliefs about humans, that they don't believe the lives of animals are worth nearly as much as their own, and that they continue to financially support industries that see animals as products rather than living beings. Okay, so she said it's disturbing to her that most feminists only hold these beliefs about humans. The word disturbing is overused in politics, in my opinion. Like, disturbing to me, it means disturbing, If I see on the news that someone's been raped and chopped up and killed, that's disturbing to me. That's pretty disturbing, but to her, it's disturbing that most feminists only hold those beliefs about humans. Each to their own, I guess. They continue to support industries that see animals as products rather than living beings. Again, not the entire industry feels that way. That's only certain parts. And yes, they do use them as financial, gain, but that's just how the world works. It's business. But we currently kill and exploit literally trillions of animals a year. We do not need to kill these animals in order to survive, but do so because consumers effectively demand their deaths. Yes, sometimes, but once again, there are people that, do need animals, and that's a part of their culture. But yes, I agree. I would much rather everybody on this earth be vegan than nobody in this earth be vegan, because, props to the vegans. It really does help the environment. Processing meat, it really is toxic for the environment, and especially cows, like their methane. It's just absolutely insane. Like, they contribute to like 20% of the world's greenhouse gases. But yeah, companies that tell consumers that they need to eat meat and consume animal byproducts to grow healthy and strong are billion-dollar corporations that want to profit off of this belief. They do not have our best intentions at heart. So that's more of a conspiracy theory. They're kind of getting at that it's kind of an inside job, in the sense that, this is another thing that the Canadian American like food guide, they're kind of partnered with the grocery stores to promote meat and dairy and even like fruits and stuff to kind of sell them. That's not proven. It's a conspiracy theory. Whether or not I believe it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of at par with it, but it doesn't really matter. Humans don't need to consume animals and their byproducts to get the nutrients we need. A vegan diet is acceptable throughout all phases of one's life, including as a child, a teenager, an adult, during pregnancy, and in old age. In fact, a 2015 study by the World Health Organization recommended a plant-based diet above all others. Okay, I feel like when you are a child, you do need dairy, because I don't know about you, but I drank a lot of milk as a child. I mean, I still drink milk, but especially when I was like a young child, I drank a lot of milk, and I think that is supposed to contribute to like your development and your brain development and stuff like that. But and definitely, I'm also an athlete too, so humans don't need to consume animals and their byproducts. No, I don't need to, but it definitely helps get your nutrients. It is hard to be a vegan. It's rare that a vegan can get all their nutrients with just the food. They often have to take supplements and stuff like that, because especially protein. I mean, what are you going to get protein from? Like tofu and beans. That's it. And I fucking love beans, and tofu's, pretty good, but it is harder to get all your nutrients. But yes, it is acceptable throughout most phases of one's life. This study was preceded by the 2005 China study, which also concluded that veganism can prevent and even reverse heart disease and diabetes, which are two of the most lethal diseases in the world today. Okay, I agree with that. I would totally agree that if you take all the vegans in the world and you take all the cannibals inside the world, that, the vegans would have less heart problems and less diabetes. But you know why that is? It's not because you guys are vegans. It's just because so many people who aren't vegans, they eat garbage. The people who have heart disease and diabetes, 9 out of 10 times are pigs. They eat junk all day. They eat bacon, and not all meat is like bacon and just pork in general. It's not fatty. Like, you've got fish that's just, and even poultry, most poultry, it's like, it's really good for you. It's lean, and it contributes to your brain development, especially fish with the omega-3s and stuff. However, so if eating meat is not nutritionally necessary, how can people morally justify enslaving, torturing, exploiting, and killing animals in mass? Aside from the nutritional argument, many meat eaters claim that animals are beneath humans. It's a matter of the food chain. Well, the food chain does exist, and technically that's true. However, that is a bit harsh to say that, animals are beneath humans. I like to think of everyone equal, as well as the animals. That's kind of a First Nation standpoint, but I mean, animals are beneath us inside the food chain, at least the ones that we eat. So, yet which animals we consider below us is relatively arbitrary. Why do we love and protect dogs and feel horror at the idea of them being slaughtered or eaten, but don't care when pigs are treated this way, even though they have been proven to be even more intelligent than dogs? Pigs more intelligent than dogs? I knew pigs were intelligent, but, dogs, they have so much to contribute to, like, humans. You see police dogs and army dogs and stuff, like especially their smell and stuff, like, they contribute a lot to, the progression of human life. Like, they do a lot for us. Pigs, they don't really do much. We're so attached to dogs. Dogs, they love you. Pigs, not really. So that's why we don't care when pigs are treated that way, but we feel horror at the idea of dogs being slaughtered, in China and stuff. That's the reason. Humans have a more moral agency unlike any other animal, and yet we seem to have ignored this injustice completely, likely in large part due to our disconnection from the violent process required to turn these living beings into consumable meals. If slaughterhouses had glass walls, most of the world would be vegan, but industrialization and capitalism have made sure to help consumers set their morality apart from their consumerism. This I completely disagree with. If slaughterhouses had glass walls, most of the world would be vegan. That is so false. Lots of people know what goes on inside slaughterhouses. I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people do, especially when the vegans are shoving it down your throat. But no, if people knew, even if the people that didn't know knew when they had glass walls, I guarantee most of the world wouldn't be vegan. I think that's just a complete bullshit statement. It's just, I can't even talk about that one. Anyways, from a feminist point of view, it's also worth noting that humans' justification for eating meat is similar to the patriarchy's justification for enforcing inequality. Just as men have historically seen women as vulnerable, incapable of fighting back, giving consent, or effectively communicating, and therefore considered them their property available for exploitation in the name of profit and consumption, so do we consider animals. Okay, nobody thinks like that anymore. This isn't the 17th century. Feminism does exist, males and females, they have equality. Okay, who cares if they used to see them like that? It's about now. It's not about 300 years ago, Okay, so once again, I've mentioned this so many times, but I just have to do it over and over. Not every single farm abuses their animals like this. Yes, there are some, and those farms should be shut down immediately, and the people who own them and run them, they should have consequences. I don't think animal abuse is right, even if it's, farm animals and they're contributing to, our food supply. I'm an animal person, so that's wrong to me, but not every farm is like that. In fact, most aren't. Okay, so the rest of this, I don't know if it's a blog or a post or an article. I think it's just a blog post, but the rest of it is just kind of, once again, it's the vegan shoving why meat is bad down our throats. That's what they do. Oh, here's an interesting thing. She's talking about how, women are oppressed and stuff. In many ways, women are animalized and animals are feminized to justify their various oppressions. Restaurants like Hooters are the perfect showcase for how typically macho spaces blend the exploitation and diminishment of women as nothing but pieces of meat for them to ogle, objects with which they can do what they like and be served by, with the objectification of animals as meat. Okay, so with the restaurants like Hooters thing, I don't know about you, but you can look at these workers at Hooters. Yeah, they look maybe a bit slutty, and that can look like something bad for, the feminists, but I don't know about you, but they look pretty damn happy, and this is just an assumption, but I'm thinking that they weren't forced to work there. I'm thinking they applied there. I'm thinking that they knew exactly what was going on there, and that, they wanted to get some cash, and they wanted to, maybe get a career, who knows, but they look pretty damn happy. They look like they want to be there. So this is the last line. As feminists, if we want to rid the world of this system of hierarchy, of needless violence, then shouldn't we fully commit to it? She's talking about veganism. All the feminists are turning into vegans. Not good. Once again, vegans and feminists, nobody likes them. They focus on what's bad. They're both extremely stupid. And most of all, the idea isn't wrong. They're pushing it down people's throats, and it's not the right way to do it. But that's what they have in common. That's why I think they're the same breed. I don't know if we should have a syndrome for this. Maybe they're from a different planet. Who knows? Maybe they have DT syndrome. I don't fucking know. But we gotta stop them, like, one way or another. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.